Hey guys, it's Kurt from AjamMusic. As most of you know, we're reasonably new to the Ketron product series. We've got an SD40 and SD90, and we've put up a handful of videos showing folks what it can sound like, but there's a bunch of features that we really don't know a whole lot about ourselves at this point. So we went to the expert, Dr. AJ, and looking for a little bit of help. In particular, what we really want to know more about is the LAUNCHPAD feature on SD60, SD90, and SD9. AJ, help us out.
Well, thanks, Kurt, for that brief introduction right there. You're correct. There are a lot of users who are currently looking for more information with regards to Ketron products, and in particular, some of the unique features that are found exclusively on our units, such as the LAUNCHPAD, which is found on the SD9, SD60, SD90. So we're going to take the next couple of weeks, to try and develop some tutorial-ish videos so that folks can get a better understanding of some of these features. And we hope that this will also be able to not only help bring out these features to the outside world, but also help those who currently do own and have Ketron products. Good day and welcome to this presentation of the LAUNCHPAD feature, which is found exclusively on the Ketron SD9, SD60, and SD90 music stations. What exactly is the LAUNCHPAD? In a nutshell, the LAUNCHPAD is really a merger between a sequencer and a style engine. Now, for those of you who are out there in one-man bands, you know that the styles are very great because they're flexible. However, the limitations are you get tied into this loop or loop effect, and also the fact that there are certain parts of the style which cannot perfectly play a particular track the way it was meant to be played, because again, when you're playing a style and you're changing chords, everything changes with you. But there's some songs, for example, where the guitar might change a chord and the bass does not change chords, or let's say a particular track changes a chord while another track does not. Now with a sequencer, the problem there is you are a musician and you're following the machine. You're actually pretty much playing over and following a sequence, a predetermined sequence. And so you don't have that much flexibility to be able to do your own thing. So what Ketron have done is that they have taken the best of both worlds, the best of a sequencer world and an arranger world, and brought them together. But let's see how this works in a real example. So in this scenario right here, we've loaded a MIDI file, okay? And it's a MIDI file into this LAUNCHPAD. The LAUNCHPAD is made up of 6 scenes, scene 1 through scene 6. Every scene can hold 12 tracks. Okay, so in this case, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks which are armed from this MIDI file. So I'm going to play it so you hear how it starts just by itself with the MIDI file. And then I'm going to pause it and do some things to it to show you what the LAUNCHPAD can do. Playing with a MIDI file, sometimes you want to mute the lead track and play yourself. Let's move on to the next phase of this. So that's a MIDI file, okay? A nice, good MIDI file. I want to enhance that with the Ketron, okay? So what am I going to do? I'm going to add some live drums, okay? And how do I do that? Very simple. You can just pick an empty track. Right here we got this guy. Touch and hold it. It goes into edit mode. And you see all these guys light up. In other words, the display is now in black. I want to add what? A drum, a groove, a guitar, a wave. You can also add a wave file to this, okay? In this case, I want to add an audio drum. So I'm going to touch the audio drum. It's in what category? You have so many categories of audio drums. I'm going to go into the R&B funk. This is like a nice funky stuff. I'm going to pick R&B blues number 3. Okay. Now I have that audio drum in there. How does it sound like? I'm going to turn off the other tracks. If I hit start, okay, if I go to C now, fill in. So these are all available to me, or available at my fingertips, okay? That's a good thing. What else do I want to add? Maybe I want to add a live guitar. So I'm going to go and pick up this track for an example. It goes into edit mode, and I'm going to go into live guitar. Now, what live guitar category I'm looking at? Electric guitar, for an example. Electric guitar 16 has a nice funky feel to it, okay? So I have 2 audio tracks in there. Remember I said you can have 3 audio tracks per scene, okay? So we have 2 so far for this demonstration. So let's see how it's going to sound like. I'm going to turn them off so nothing is lit up. I'm going to turn on the MIDI tracks, okay? Those are the MIDI file tracks. And let's see how it sounds like by itself. And then with my add-on. Now I got my live drums. Okay, I'm going to now add my live guitar. In the case of the guitar, I got to tell the guitar what chords to play. So I'm going to play the chords now here. Alright, they're only going to impact this guitar track. Okay, here we go. MIDI file drums. And back to the audio drums. That is me just doing what I'm doing right now with the MIDI file, okay? Now watch this. I can now go into scene number 2, all right? Go to style import, and I can actually import from a soul style drums, groove, bass, chord 1, chord 2, and chord 3, chord 4, and chord 5 of arranger. Let's see, A, I want to go to arranger B of that particular style. And I'm going to import those into the B right here. So I have those in here right now. Okay, so in scene 1, I have that MIDI file with my enhancement. In scene 2, I have the style. So guess what I'm going to do right now? Again, every scene has its own time signature, tempo. You can set that for different scenes. So this makes it very, very interesting. All right, no drums, no nothing else. This is going to be the MIDI file. I'm going to play with the enhancement, and I'm going to go into scene number 2, which has just the style. Okay. Here we go. Live drums. Drum fill. Live guitar. I'm going to go to scene 2, which is just my style. I can now play whatever I want to play. So you see that flexibility. I'm going back and forth from a MIDI file to a style. And I'm not constrained to the MIDI file. I'm not constrained to the chord progressions of that MIDI file. I can change my chords as I wish when I go into the style section. When I'm in the MIDI file section, I can enhance the different MIDI files with live guitar, live bass, or even a wave file. If I go in here, I can go to my wave file and I can add a wave element, a wave file that comes from my collection into the MIDI files.
And I got questions. AJ, over on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a bunch of buttons that talk about song mode and tempo and looping and not looping and all kinds of stuff. Can you help me out and show me more about all of those buttons?
That's a very interesting question, Kurt. Let's just dive in to the Launchpad and see exactly how that works, all right? Follow me. Good day and welcome once more to this continued series of our Launchpad presentation. In this segment, we're going to talk about the features that are available in the Launchpad, pretty much what's going on over here and how much control you have over the pads. Again, remember, these pads could either be MIDI data that you bring in yourself, or MIDI data from the banks of the SD9, SD90, SD60, or audio data. So in this example right now, I got two WAV files over here, okay? So for the sake of the demonstration, let me turn that off just for now. And this is pretty much what I'm going to play. Again, this is a style. These are all style parts, okay? Now, if I do that, and I want to add a WAV file, I got two WAV files in there, okay? Let's check them out and see exactly what's going on. So this is how you incorporate your audio elements, again, into your pads, into your Launchpad. Live drums. Now, it's very interesting. That's on scene 1. I can now go into scene 2 for an example, and I have different parts that I've assigned into scene number 2. So, scene 3, similar stuff. I got different WAV files in there. Now, why am I showing you all of this? Because in scene 1, what have I done in scene 1? I have different WAV files in scene 1. In scene 2, something else. In scene 3, something else. So if I'm playing this, during a live performance, it'll sound something like this. Now, what's interesting about this, I may want to use the auto chord function on here, okay, and record that progression so I don't have to do it over and over again. That's very, very easy. I go into the bars. I can set that to be maybe like 4 bars. In other words, I wanted to loop every 4 bars. Turn on the auto chord, and I can play the progression and record that at any given time. So as soon as I hit the record button, it starts to record. After the 4th bar, it's over. It's now recording by itself. So, scene number 3 has that chord progression going. Okay? Now watch this. I'm going to come back into scene number 1, and I'm going to record a different chord progression. Okay? I'm going to go in again and make that 4 bars. Turn on the auto chord, and watch this. Start recording now. A mistake, so I can do it over again. Again, this is being done live, right? So if I do this, I'm going to just go back and re-record over this guy. Here we go. Okay, so I got that progression in there. Now, what about scene number 2? I can come into scene number 2 and do something a little bit different. Now, let me check out what's in there first. I'm going to turn off these tracks, turn on that guy, and see what we have in there. Beautiful. I'm going to turn that back on again. And again, this is for my guidance, so I can know exactly what I'm doing. Again, this is building stuff in from scratch. Of course, you have to record your different sections, or you can bring in those sections from the style. Okay, but for the sake of our demonstration, this is what we have right now. And I'm going to go ahead and record, in this case, also 4 bars. Okay, and I'm going to turn on that auto chord. So here we go. right, that's number 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So why am I showing you this? Because now I'm going to go into what we call song mode. Right now it's turned off. If I go into edit the song mode, I can bring in the different scenes in here. Okay, so I can right now add scene number 1, and I want that to repeat for how many bars. Okay, so I want to go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so I want to put a 16 in there. Okay, and you can try it out yourself. You can of course test this out. I want to add no, maybe I'm going to make that 8 because there wasn't much going on in there. I want to add scene number 2, and I want that to play for, let's say, what, 8 bars. Okay, let's just say. And I want to go add scene number 3, okay, and I want this guy to play for 16 bars because I had a lot more changes going on in there. But then again, this is just for demonstration purposes only. And I can say, okay, at the end of that repetition, do I want it to stop or do I want it to go over and over and over? Okay, if I leave it this way, it's going to go back, play this guy, play this guy, play this guy, go back to that guy. Okay, single, if I want this to go as a loop, for an example, keep looping and looping and looping, or single shots. In other words, just play it once through. So I'm going to say okay to this guy. All right, now if I go to song mode on and I hit start, it should follow the progression of what I asked it to do. You can see I'm not playing anything, I'm not touching anything, and it's going through different scenes and playing exactly what I wanted it to do. It's playing the chord progressions, and at any given time, okay, I can interject that. Again, the priority is given to the player. If I turn off the song mode, now I take over the machine. Okay? Turn off the auto progression. Turn off the guitar. Go back to the chord progression, turn it back on. Now my hands are free to play live guitar. And I can always override that, so you can see what we're doing. The auto chord progression governing that particular scene tells you what to play in that scene, which you recorded. Every scene can have its own chord progression. And of course, when I go into song mode, that's where the magic is in chaining the scenes. I want this scene to play for how many bars, that one to play for how many bars, this one how many bars. When I get to the end of this, what should I do? Should I just stop playing? Which in that case I will have to turn on the stop, or loop it again. Do I want to play one time single, play everything through, or do I want to hit loop, play everything through over and over and over again?
First, I want to say thanks to AJ for teaching us a little bit about the LAUNCHPAD features. AJ, I have a couple more questions. I think I asked earlier, maybe I didn't. Anyway, I want to know how to start a new LAUNCHPAD from scratch, a whole new project. And also, I believe you mentioned that I can change time signatures and in the different scenes that are in a project. Can you show me a quick example of that?
Now, in this example, we're going to talk about, being able to mix different time signatures and different tempos using the Launchpad. There's some music from other parts of the world that demand such, maybe you have a 4/4 beat for a particular session of your song, and then it switches over quickly into a 3/4 beat. So we're going to show you how to do that again with Launchpad. Again, I would like to emphasize the fact that these videos are just meant to show you the capabilities. So here we go. Get into a Launchpad, and I'm going to start with a pad from scratch. So I'm going to start with new. Okay, do you want to proceed? Yes, I do. So I have a clean slate. All my 6 scenes are empty. Okay, so what do? I'm going to go into scene number 1. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to import from a style. So I'm going to go into my style section right here. And I'm going to pick, let's say, rock. All right, I'm going to look for a nice 4/4. Let's see, folk rock, for an example. Okay, so that's the style which is selected. Now I'm going to go into my pad and I'm going to import folk rock, select all. I want to get the drum, the bass, the groove, all the different parts in there from arranger A. Okay, or maybe just say arranger, let's go to arranger B. It's a little bit more funky, right? And I hit OK. Boom. So as you can see in scene 1, we have that again, these are the parameters that govern this particular pad. So it's a 4/4 signature. So if I can try it out and see. Again. That sounds cool. Okay. Now in scene number 2, I want to be different. I want to be creative. I want that to be a 3/4. So I'm going to go here and make that a 3/4 pad selection. Okay. Now in here, I'm going to go to the first pad. I'm going to say edit. I want to put an audio drum in there. Okay. I'm going to go in the audio drum. I'm going to go over to swing category. And I'm going to look for a nice swing. Okay. Some cool swing that I can use. Maybe I could say swing number 4. Okay. And I can try it. Okay. Again, remember, for every pad, I have control of 4. So even though you just see 1 here, I can go to arranger A, B, C, D in that guy. If I go to scene 1, I can go to arranger A, B, C, D in that pop style. Okay, just so you know. So really, I have more than just the 12 that I'm seeing here on my screen. Okay, so this is a 3/4. I got a swing. I'm looking for a bass 9. I'm going to go to edit mode. I'm going to go into my bass. And I'm going to go again into the swing category. I'm looking for a nice 3/4 bass. So I'm going to pick a swing, maybe a swing 12 or something. Again, you can just try it out for yourself. You like it, fine. You don't, toss it out. And here I'm going to look for, let's see, piano maybe. And I'm going to go again to the swing category. I'm looking for a nice swing piano. Maybe I'm going to go with that. Now, you don't hear anything, right? Let's try it out. What do we have so far? You got this guy. That's cool. I want to add a live guitar in there. So I'm going to now go into that pad. I'm going to go into live guitar. I'm going to go into the category of electric. Again, you can go into the acoustic if you want. I'm going to look dance mix. Maybe I want to figure out what I want to do here. I want to look for maybe like a nice swing with some extension on it on the 6th. Okay, so if I try it now. Don't like that? Go into live guitar while it's playing. Don't do anything there if I don't want to. Look for another swing riff that I'm looking for. It's a riff right there too. Let's see, which one can I pick? I'm gonna go with this guy. Let's see. Here we go. That's cool. So what have I done right now? I only have those 4 tracks. Again, this is just to give you an example of what we're up against, in other words, what we're doing here. So to recap, in number 1, I have a 4/4. In number 2, I have a 3/4 beat. Okay. And now this is where I can get very, very creative. So I can start my song in here and the tempo in there is 104. Okay. I can, let's say, make it 106. In scene number 2, the tempo is 120. I can make it, let's say, 122. And as you can see, when I go from scene to scene, everything in there is memorized. Okay. So I'm going to now go ahead and say, let's just spice it up a little bit and see what happens. Let's go back into where we came from before. And there you have it, folks. 3/4, 4/4, whatever your heart desires, it's possible using the Launchpad. We are going to go back to what we said in the beginning. We mentioned the fact that the Launchpad is a hybrid between a sequencer and a style engine. So let's look at the sequencing part of it for those who are interested in creating songs or tracks from scratch, which is really what the strength of a sequencer is. So I go into my Launchpad, go and open a new one. And what I want to do is, like I said before, every scene has its own characteristics, its time signature, tempo, and what have you. So for this particular recording, I'm going to set the tempo here for 90, okay? Again, look at the other one, so 120, which is the default. I can put that for 90 as well when I get to it, okay? But for the sake of this recording, I'm going to use 2 scenes, all right? So in scene 1, I want to record something into track number 1. Touch and hold for 2 seconds. It goes into edit mode, and you can either extract other segments, WAV files, MIDI files, or guitars, or bass, or audio drums, or pianos into that track. Or for this case, I want to edit the pad, and I want to record my own content into there. And I want it to be a loop. I'm going to select harmony because I want this particular track to ignore any chord changes I do on the arrangement. So it's going to be like a sequence with its own programmed chord variation in there. Okay, so I'm going to go into record. I'm going to record this for 4 bars. I want to hit the quantize value and make that, let's see, 16. Okay, 16. So here we go. Sounds right. Okay, so recording mode, here we go. And it's going to start recording after the 4th tick. Okay, so that's good. Stop. Go to the next track. It's going to ask me if I want to save that. Now that's a MIDI file right there, a MIDI a track. But we're going to go to track number 2, the next track, okay? And I want to go to edit this pad right here, and I want to put a bass line in there. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to go to the voice change, and I'm going to pick a bass. Let's call this a finger bass for an example. That's going to be my voice track I'm going to use in there. So okay, that sounds right. Here we go into record mode. So I got that in there. Got those 2 tracks. Let me see. I want to add some nice, maybe some strings. Go into a 3rd track. Go over here, edit mode, and I want to edit the pad. And in this one, I want to record. Let's see what instrument I want to put in there. I want to go into voice change. I want to put pads, and I'm going to go into atmosphere. There we go. Record mode. Last record pad was not saved. I want to save this one. Yes, I'm going to call this tests for now. It wants to save it into memory so that I don't erase it or lose it down the line. So I'm going to call this one test. Hit enter. Okay. Here I'm going to hit record now for this one. Let's call this one test 2. Now, I got 3 tracks in there that I've done from scratch. Now, I'm not a good drummer, and I have some very nice live audio drums in the machine, so I'm going to use that in this particular case in here. So let's see. I'm going to go in for my next track. Okay, I'm going to save this. I'm going to save that last one we just did. Let's call that test 3. Okay. So I got test 2, that's going to be my test 3. I want to go over here and I want to use some nice drums. Okay, so let's see, what am I going to go into? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into this track over here and I'm going to bring in, let's see, some nice audio drums. And where can I get those from? Audio drums right there. I'm going to go into the live drum category. And I'm going to scroll down and see what I'm looking for. Let's see. Maybe I can find something that I put in here. The factory stuff comes displayed on the top. And then on the bottom, you have your own stuff. So if I go here, I can go into, let's see, AJ. Let's try this one. Let's see what I did over here. That's crazy, right? So, that's not bad. Now, watch this. I got that in there, and I had my crazy bass line here, which I've turned off. But I want to put another bass line here, okay? Let me just for the sake of editing this stuff, I'm going to go into bass, and I'm going to, and I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Funky bass, let's see, funky number 5, okay? Now, if you notice, I did not program any notes into this track, which means that this track is going to be playing following my key progression. So for this particular pad, I don't want to have 2 bass lines playing simultaneously. So I'm going to go to edit this pad here, and I'm going to tell this pad, when I go here to pad control, hey, when this guy goes on, you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the pad control. When pad number 5, which is over here, goes on, I want to turn off pad number 2. Okay, so I want this guy to be off. And the same token, when this bass line goes on, I'm going to go to edit mode here, edit this pad. When this bass guy goes on, I want you to turn off pad number 5. So if I turn on this particular pad, I want this guy to be turned off. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to have 2 bass players playing on the same track, but I don't want to have to press this guy on and turn that guy off, or turn this guy on and turn that guy off. If I hit one guy on, automatically it controls the other pad. And so you can program the pads to do certain things with other pads as well. So let's watch that in motion right now. So this is okay, so you get the idea. If I turn on that bass track while it's playing, of course, see, the part's not changing. All right, nothing changes there because these tracks were programmed in the harmonic mode. So that's again how you can use it as a basic sequencer. I was just doing a little example here. But now let's say I want to get very creative. All right, I'm going to save this as a Launchpad project. So I'm going to save it as, I'm going to call this demo 1. Okay, so that's what it's called, demo 1. So you can see over there, demo 1. Demo 1 is made up of this. Oh, I forgot something. I want to add a nice guitar there. So I'm going to go into another track, and I'm going to go here to live guitar, and I'm going to pick something that's an electric category, and I'm going to scroll and find something. Let's see. Let's say I want a disco wah. Okay, so if I try this now, now let's go to the arranger bass. Now I can do my balancing. I can go to volume. I want this live bass that I programmed to be a little bit louder, so I can see it. Again, you can match the tracks here. Okay, so I can make that a little bit louder. This live guitar, which I just added, is too loud, so that's a matching track. I can bring down that volume. This bass is still a little bit too much reverb on my bass tracks, go to the volume. Now watch this, alright? I'm gonna go in my drums. So again, just to give you an idea of what I'm doing, I can have different variations in there, okay? Now I can say, look, you know what? I'm gonna make that tempo 100, okay? I'm gonna go to the next scene over here. Also make that 100, okay? Get out of here. I'm gonna go in and say, hey, I don't wanna replicate this in that scene. I'm gonna go here and say, okay, copy to scene 2. Current scene to scene 2, copy that. So when I come into scene 2, I don't have to start over from scratch. I just go in and start from where I ended with scene 1. So now maybe here I want to change something. I may want to change and use another drum here. Instead of using the AJ live drum, I'm going to go here and pick something else. So I might want to go in, let's say, audio drum, live drum. I'm going to figure out something here. I'm looking for some nice, there we go. Okay, so watch this now. So over here in scene 1 I have, and I can start with the song with this, of course. Scene 2. Of course, I can come here and I gotta balance this. Again, different feels. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm building a sequence from scratch, really. Oh, by the way, I gotta save that, okay? Save Launchpad, save it as demo 1. Yes, already exists, will be replaced. I want to save it that way. That's my project. So now when I get out of Launchpad and say, hey, you know what, I want to go in there and load the project. Well, it's gonna still be memory, but to recall it or to load it, I just have to go to open. And let me just pick something else for now to, so you can see everything else is different here. So that's a different one, okay? I want to go back to my project. I'm going to go to Launchpad. I'm going to go to Open. I'm looking for Demo. There we go, Demo 1. And Demo 1 is going to load in my stuff. The way I saved it, okay? Oh, and by the way, I want to keep this as a registration for those of you who are using styles and are used to registration format. So with the Launchpad loaded, all I have to do is turn on the registration button, hit the save button, registration, save as, and I can then call this again. Let's say demo 1, okay? So now the registration has saved the Launchpad project, which has saved all the different elements of the Launchpad. So now when I get to my gig, all I gotta do is hit registration, because now I want to be able to match it up with the voice. Let's say I want to be able to use accordion voice or something. I want to transpose it to whatever the value is, okay? And I can now save that as demo 1. So now when I go back and recall the registration, it will not only recall the Launchpad and its elements, but also the voicing and the setting of the keyboard. So now the master registration is very, very effective here, because it saves the project, which also saves the elements of the project, plus the voicing and the volumes of what you were using this particular project for.
Now, I have a couple more questions for AJ, and I'm going to ask him to show us a little bit more about how do I save a Launchpad project, and then where do all those folders go once I've saved my project? AJ, tell me more.
Good day, and once again we're continuing with our Launchpad features. In this segment of the video, we're going to talk about some interesting features as to what is happening behind the scenes when you look at the actual pads, and also how to save your project and to retrieve it. So in this scenario right now, we're using one of the AjamSonic styles, Evergreen. And all I did was just go into one of my Launchpad projects, okay? And I will talk to you later on about how to put it in. So to get it out, you just go into your open and you're looking for the one that you want to work with, which in this case is this guy. Touch that and it loads instantly. So all the scenes have all the different tracks that you initially had in there to make up this particular Launchpad project. So let's see what this one has here for us. We got a WAV file over here, another WAV file over there, and a bass and MIDI tracks over here. So as you can see, if I go to the WAV, okay, this one is a freestyle wave. So if I go in there to edit and I go to edit pad, you're going to see chord mode, nothing. So this particular file doesn't have anything to do with the chord progression that I am playing. Now, if you go to some of the other files, you will see, for an example, here on the bass track, if I go to edit and harmony. So in this case, the bass is playing what I am performing over here. Okay, just to give you an example of what's going on. So let's listen to this one and see what's happening. Scene 2. And remember, even though it's a Launchpad, I have style controls like fills and breaks. So as you can see, I'm working with those tracks, turning on and off parts, independently. And again, once you've arranged your project, it's very easy. You just go ahead and hit the save button and you save as, and you give it a name and you save. Now, these are all, again, projects. I can go in there and I can open up another one for you. So just to give you an idea of exactly what we're doing here, I'm going to look for, we just did the Evergreen. I'm going to look for another one, the Funky Soul, for example. Okay, and if you notice, what I did was, in my case, okay, I find it easier to name the project and the key in which the project is in. So of course, when you're performing on stage, your audience, you don't start playing in one key and then the pad is playing in another key, for example, in the case where the tracks don't follow the chord progression. Okay, so this is another example of again, an AjamSonic style funky soul, and we're going to have some AjamSonic guitars that are going to come in here for this particular case. Now, when you save them, what's going on here? When you do save your projects, where are they getting stored? Well, if you get out of Launchpad and you go into Media, okay, and you go into your drive, right there you have a folder called Launchpad. And if you double click on that, it tells you these are all your projects, okay? These are right here, all your projects. Now, the different resources that are used for the project, such as the MIDI tracks, MIDI files, or the styles that you're using are all going to be in these folders. So if I go into the WAV folder, for example, the WAV files that I'm using in some of those guitars are all going to be in here, okay, in the different folders. So if I go into a folder like Evergreen that we just came from, again, that's the tempo, okay, of the actual WAV file, so that when you vary the tempo, the machine knows how to vary it without changing the pitch. If I go in that folder, it tells you all the different lead parts of the lead guitars that are used in that scenario. If I go into user, this is where all my MIDI tracks are, okay? My MIDI files that I'm going to be using inside of the Launchpad are all stored here. And of course, if I go into the style, the different styles that are being used with the pads are all stored in here as well. So that's in the resource folder or subfolder found in the Launchpad, okay? So the Launchpad is a very, very critical tool indeed, because again, like I was saying, it's a bridge, it's a merger between a sequencer, okay, a comprehensive sequencer, if you look at what I'm doing here, and a style arranger engine. But it eliminates the weaknesses of the arranger, and it eliminates the weaknesses of MIDI files and sequences, and uses just the positive aspect of both